4, 3, 2, 1. Action. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We have such an exciting day planned for you. The intention of today is to help startup businesses and help them grow for the next 2 years, and that's not easy. The whole day's being sponsored by Cleartone, and I'm really lucky to have the managing director. Here he is, Nick. Nick, how you feeling today?
Morning. Good morning, one and all.
Good morning. How you feeling? You put this on.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
I know. A lot of hard work, but we got there in the end.
So we've got that. Really, we should talk about what inspired you to do this and what inspired you to own a telecommunications company. We've got a number here, 0207 101 4040. Tell us everything. Tell us what inspired you, what that number's about, what you plan for the day and your intentions.
Okay, first is first, that's not my credit card number or passcode. So listen, today is all about giving people a bit of confidence, a bit of knowledge, a bit of ammunition to whether they're first starting a company or whether they are just kind of feeling their way through the beginnings and before the maturity stage of their company, just to give them that extra bit of advice, that extra little bit of know-how. We've got some fantastic speakers, a few of them I've heard before, really inspirational, really insightful, very intelligent, at the top of their game. And the intention for the day is just to give people a nice little boost when it comes to starting a business and give them, as I said, the tools and ammunition they need in order to do what they can to succeed. What inspired me to start a telecoms business? Well, I've always been interested in the startup industry. I've been working, I'll give away my age, but I've been working in Cleartone since 2005, so it's been quite a long time. And as a telecoms business, we decided that the best way to start the business and our perfect market was the brand new businesses. And so in essence, from day one, we've really sort of been developing all of our technology, all of our services to be laser focused on helping the new business operate and what was then in those days, modern day times, but now even especially more so, to be nimble, to be able to improve their work-life balance. And look, it's really sort of taken off, and we're really excited to be here.
It's a brilliant company. Look, I've just spotted some names of the people in the audience, and Morgan. There's a young man called Morgan Summers, right? Perfect. If you ring this number, Morgan, he's just started his own personal training company. They will get you a free landline. Now, when you get a landline, you have so much more credibility. He's just applied to Companies House to create his own company. Perfect. Really get some popcorn, snuggle in, because you're going to learn so many interesting things today about how you're going to survive that first 2 years. Now, 9 out of 10 businesses don't even survive that long, and this is created for so many of you. So good morning, Steve and Tony and Vanessa and all of you that are tuned in. There is a chat.
Yeah, quite a few names. Serge as well, welcome, nice to see you. So good to see a lot of familiar names and also a lot of people that hopefully are very interested in a very strong lineup we've got today of different wide range of aspects of business and startup, and how to improve yourself as a brand, how to improve your sales, how to improve your company, your social media. So a whole range of different topics that we're talking about today.
You know what I found interesting? I had to look through everybody's email. There's 100 people registered for this event, plus it's online. So literally thousands of people watch it. A lot of you had Gmail accounts and Hotmail accounts. That is the first sign of a new business. So I know a lot of you out there are a new business. Now, you can engage with the speakers. I'm looking at the chat, and the chat, please say hello. Tell us where you're tuning in from around the country. I'd love to see that. Nick, what else? What else can you tell us about the brand that is Cleartone?
Well, one of the things that has sort of come out more recently, and something I've discussed with you, Gary, as well, is how is the best way to improve your SEO and work and develop to get yourself an online presence. One thing that's becoming more and more clear is credibility. Both credibility for Google, credibility online, and also credibility generally for your customers. And so one of the things when we started off was that, especially in those days, having a mobile number, you could, come and go as you please, but the whole idea of having a landline number or a national number, especially if it's a number in the area that you want to operate, so whether you're a cleaner, a window cleaner, or a car mechanic that's operating, or a person that are fitness trainer that's operating locally, is it instills a lot of confidence in the people that you work locally, you live locally. There's an extra level of credibility and trust there. So that was also one of the things that we're finding more and more, especially now with the emergence of online, and not emergence anymore, but certainly from that point of view, we're finding more and more people are utilising these kind of services in order to be more nimble and control their time more.
Well, I can tell you a golden nugget right now. So everyone should be on Google My Business. And Google My Business, the minute you have a landline, they authorize you straight away because they see it as more credible. So look, please take advantage. Call the number 0207 101 4040. Cleartone have put so much energy into today's conference, and all they're saying is that phone that number, will convert your mobile number into a landline. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. In essence, the way, very, very simply, we're not here to kind of pick some products, we're here to learn a lot, but just very, very simply, instead of giving out your private landline or mobile number, what we do is we'll give you a business number that will ring on your landline or your mobile. So you're keeping your private number for your family, friends, and trusted customers. And then if you move office or you move home, you literally pick it up and take it with you. So it's like a number for life.
So I'm going to ask you some questions now. We said I didn't want to prep you. I didn't want to prep you because this is very authentic. So we've got a room full of people and people watching it that are new to business. Can you give us your top tips on surviving in business, especially in this climate of COVID, and it's really tough out there? What would you say some of your key tips are to share with the audience?
Yeah, certainly. Spread your networks as wide as possible. And I know that we're having someone who's talking a bit later about networks.
Not just anybody, the person in charge of the whole of London for BNI. A huge honour to have Tim Kibel. Tim will be on at 1 o'clock if you're interested in that.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Networking, should we call him? Certainly from the point of view of sales, identifying your core customer, your ICP. Your main type of customer. Who are the people that are going to buy from you? And focus on that market. You haven't invited any multinationals here. I haven't invited anybody that I don't think is what we would consider the perfect customer for what we offer. So when you go out to market, make sure you're really, really focused on where is your sweet spot. Once you work out your sweet spot, your ICP, which is your ideal customer profile, once you've got that, and once you've actually identified that, focus on that market. But again, don't be afraid to what the terms pivot. So don't be afraid to, if, for example, you're getting demand for an aspect of your service you didn't realise that you had, don't be afraid to do that. But certainly, once you've identified your ideal customer profile, focus on that.
I have to follow up on that. We've got a group of social media people watching this, and if you're going to make a quote today, like if you say anybody, that means nobody. Nick's absolutely right that the ICP is one of the first things you do. Look, let's have some fun with this as well. The audience, please ask us questions because later on, all the speakers, they're half an hour, they might not have time for questions. Now's a good time. Please, I want to see where you're all from as well. Jonathan, where you from? Luke, where you from? Martin, put your details in there. Tell the room, because networking, you never know. Ryan might need something from Simon. What we want to do is we want to put everyone's name in there in the chat feature. Who you are, what you do, and what is your ICP. There you go. And Nick will give you some critique on that. What else? So ICP, what else, Nick? What else should we look out for?
I'd certainly say it's really important that you have a web presence nice and early. And what we do, and we've done very successfully, is develop partnerships. So not necessarily going directly out to our end customer, but working with businesses, and I know there's at least one of them who's on here at the moment that we work with, and work together with them in a partnership where there may be something reciprocal. You can give them some business, and they can give you some business. But you can work as hard for a £50 sale as you can for a £20,000 sale.
I absolutely agree. Like you want to work towards getting those £100 sales rather than the £5 ones. There's a book. It's called How to Sell to the Affluent. I highly recommend that. Maybe today we might go through some of the books and the influences that have led us to where we are. I'm so excited, Nick. Do you know on the chat we've got a guy, Hallam Rose. Hallam is from Cambridge and he's an angel investor. There you go. Pitch him or her. Pitch it. Like we got an angel investor amongst us. Wow. I'd love to hear your point of view. What are you looking for today? You're looking to invest and pull out your wallet. What else, Nick?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm also interested in, what was the motivation for people to come, what they hoping to hear for today. Were there certain speakers that were interested in hearing? Are there certain nuggets they're looking for? What are the main takeaways they're hoping to see? And I think that will also help the speakers focus their attention on what people are interested in hearing. So look, I'm very keen to get any feedback. The numbers there, and if I can ask that people can put my email address in the chat so people can have that. And please feedback. This is our first ever webinar. As I say, I'm really, really excited. We've got loads and loads of really strong speakers. And I think I have to say, Gary said this to me earlier, but we are very, very lucky that we've got this quality of speaker. And in truth, if it wasn't for the situation we're living in, we might have been a lot more difficult to get these levels of speakers. So I'm feeling very privileged that we have these levels of speakers who really deliver some excellent thanks, Stelios. There's my email address that popped up at the bottom. Excellent speakers that are going to.
And the fun bit, Nick, is every single speaker, we've asked them to give us a special offer at the end, something really genuine, not something just add on an extra course or something. Like these guys have really thought about it, and every single speaker, if you stay to the end of their talk, they'll give you something that's exclusive for today, something you can't get anywhere else. And Cleartone, our offer is going to be running all day. 0207 101 4040. You ring that number, someone there will take your details, and you will be able to get a landline, which makes you super credible. And that's the point. Should we run through the day? I'm going to quickly run through it. So we've got Nick and I. We're here till 10. We're opening up the webinar. At 10 o'clock, we've got Steve and Fabio. These guys have got a 12-pillar system to starting in your first 2 years. Really good. Maureen is the next speaker. She's 10:35. She is wow, because legislation, law, these are the things that you really need to understand when you're opening a business. Contract law. She's one of the top lawyers in the UK on that. Raising your funds early is Sarah. You know about Sarah. She was.
Of course, I know.
Will you tell us what she's going to be?
So Sarah's really inspirational. I've known her for quite a few years now. She's a qualified accountant. Went through the normal sort of accountancy. I know we've got an accountant on here, so I better be careful. Went through the normal accountancy stages and thought, you know what, I can do better. I've got more to offer. Sitting behind a desk on using a computer isn't for me. So she went out. She has been a co-founder of many successful businesses. And listen, every business should have a level of financial knowledge within the company, ideally at the beginning. And that's one other thing that I've learned over the years. It's really important to have different. If you're starting a business with someone else, make sure that you have different qualities so you complement each other. There's no point having two salesmen working together. Have one sales and one finance, or one sales and one IT person, just so you have a mix. And look, it's not necessarily bad to have conflict between the two from time to time, because that's when the best comes out of people. No, but Sarah is fantastic. She speaks very, very clearly and very, very well on a range of different subjects. And I know that she's successfully raised a lot of money for a lot of different businesses already. So for people that are looking to raise money, and we're not talking about venture capitalists here, we might be talking about a friend of a friend's father, for example, who you know's got a bit of cash and is looking potentially to invest in a business that they think is going to go from one stage to the other. You know, we're not talking about.
Well, my first business, I couldn't afford to do it all by myself, and I had an uncle that was about to retire. I needed about 80,000. I only had half, and I didn't let that hold me back. I then turned that business into a 1.5 million pound business. Without my uncle's help at the beginning, I wouldn't have been. And he was really good at cash flow and cash flow forecasting and bookkeeping, which was my weakness. I'm very grateful to my uncle, but money shouldn't be the reason to stop you growing.
No, absolutely, and generally, and this is a generalisation, but those who are looking to invest in very, very early stage startups, you know, they may not be available 24/7, but they're often available at the end of the phone if you want to bounce ideas off them, ask them stuff. So from that point of view, they don't only put money into the business, but they'll generally have a lot of business experience that can help guide you. Because rest assured, you know, it's a lot easier to start to succeed in a business when you've got more experience.
Sorry, I'm going to quote Tony Robbins. He says, "If you lack resource, become resourceful."
Well, there you go. But certainly, use your family and friends, not necessarily to raise funds. And I'm sure Sarah will be talking about different ways of raising funds, but certainly from the point of view of picking their brains, showing them your business plan, asking for their advice, asking for their feedback. The more people you can have interested in the business, the more aspects of knowledge you can dip into.
For sure. And you know what? You cannot miss Kate Strong. Kate Strong is the gold medalist, best in the world champion at triathlon. And she is the first woman to attempt to climb Mount Everest, swim the Atlantic, cycle across America all in 1 year. You need resilience.
I did that this morning.
Do you know something they don't talk about in starting a business is you need resilience. You do get knocked to the ground sometimes. You do lose a client. Things go wrong, and it's about you dusting yourself down and picking yourself up. Have you had to be resilient, Nick, through your years of owning Cleartone?
Oh, absolutely. There have been many challenges that have been put before us, both regulatory, there's some changes in the way the government, the numbers of, I mean, if you think about it, you know, when virtual numbers didn't exist 30 years ago. So the way the industry has changed and the speed and the technology, and as well as wanting to be groundbreaking in certain aspects of it, there's also the aspects of having to keep up and having to invest that time, knowledge and effort into it. So there are always challenges in a business. You know, anyone that says I made it without doing any work is generally a liar. And there's a lot of challenges to come. And you know, if you believe in your product and you believe in what you're doing, then you're a fair amount of the way there already. But no, absolutely.
And I tell you something, you can really procrastinate. I've got my friend Abigail coming in at 3:25. 3 ways to stop wasting time and money. I'm really looking forward to that. George at the end. George is our last keynote. He talks about cash flow, so important. Biju, he's the only one I haven't really heard speak. And heavyweight speaker, TED Talk speaker. He's really looking forward to that. Now, every speaker, I'm going to ask them at the end the same question. What have they enjoyed about, has anything good come out of COVID, and what's been the worst thing for you? Nick, you're no different, sir. I'm going to ask you what you've enjoyed, if anything, and what have you learned about yourself and your business, and what's been your least favourite thing of it? Because some of these startups starting in COVID are very lucky. You can start now, you can start any time, I'm telling you.
Very brave as well, I have to say. Anyone that is stepping out and you know, a lot of people might have planned for some time starting your business, but actually choosing now to start it is very, very brave. And you know what they say, fortune favours the brave. Certainly from my point of view, it's been an interesting challenge to work from home. It took a while for things to settle down and everybody to get into the swing of things, both within the business and also within individuals' homes, etc. But I have enjoyed not having to travel to the office and having everything there at my fingertips. Obviously, you know, a lot of people have had a very, very hard time, which has been very, very difficult. And it's been a challenge. You know, a lot of our customers have really, really struggled. We've done what we can to help them and work with them and give them advice. So we've also at times been, you know, sort of a counsellor, because a lot of the customers we work with very, very closely. And you know, it's been really, really hard for. I don't need to tell most of you, all of you, about, you know, how tough it's been for certain people. And listen, we're lucky we've got thousands of customers. So from that point of view, it's you know, it's not had a massive impact on our business. And obviously, a lot of people, whether for good reasons or not, are starting new businesses. So that's certainly worked for us. But no, it's, as I say, there's definitely been some positives and some negatives. It's just, you know, sort of hearing about all the troubles that certain businesses are going through and working with them to see how we can help to kind of make them ride out this difficult period. And again, as I said, you know, it's really, really invigorating and encouraging to see how many people are stepping out and saying, look, I know I can do it, I know I've got the right idea, I know I've got the skills to pull it off, and are actually going out, even in the most challenging times. And if you can survive these times, just you wait till things get better, because they will at some point. And at that point, that's when, you know, if you're starting a business now, by that time, you should also see the growth. As the economy grows, you will see that growth in your business as well. You're putting the right building blocks in place right now.
I absolutely agree with that. Now, do you know a guy called Martin Taylor? He said, well, let me tell you what he said. He said, hi, this is Martin, 2050 Resin Trade Supply Limited. Worked in the resin-bound industry, totally purpose and hard-wearing surfaces. I used Cleartone for years, very impressed. Look at that. That's amazing.
Thank you very much indeed, Martin. I appreciate that. That is most appreciated. And listen, you know, as I said earlier, we know our ideal customer, we know our sweet spot, and we know that for new businesses, there isn't a better choice out there. And I'm delighted to hear it, Martin. And you know, I wish you all luck. And please feel free to reach out anytime.
Okay, so this is one of my favourite bits where we transition into the next speaker. So Fabio and who else? Nick, if you want to come up on stage, and this is the transition bit. It's a bit tricky, but it's networking 101. We get to one of my favourite things in business is you get to bring people together. So where are you, Fabio? Like, you should be coming up to the stage.
I am.
Aha! Turn your camera on, sir.
It's it didn't go into camera. I do apologise.
Hi, Fabio.
How are you doing, Nick? I apologise about this tech issue.
That's okay. That's why this transition period exists.
I have to say, I think the "Can you hear me? Can you see me?" and on has become the new watchword.
We do this every single.
It happens to anybody in any conversation, but.
We do this every single day, though, don't we? And usually you launch straight into your video straight on. So, yeah.
So Fabio, just while you're working out, I know that Gary's mentioned that you know everybody's going to be sort of giving an offer of some sort. What Cleartone are going to do today is we're offering people a free business number, which we'd be delighted to do. But we'll be choosing 10 people at random that will be given what we call an easy to remember number, or a golden number. So it won't just be a random 4 digits at the end, for example. We will work with you to try and find a really nice number for you. So as and when you get the time, make a note of the number, make a note of the website, just mention the webinar, and we'll